Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. This video, we are looking at the PrizePicks slate. This one actually has audio. The first video that I posted this morning didn't have audio, so I'm re-recording this on my phone during my lunch break. Let's get into it. It will be pretty much the same type of plays that I'm looking at. I still like them all. None of them really moved at all, except might do a pivot to fantasy score instead of points, rebounds, and assists on one or two of them. But let's get into it. Yesterday, no, not a good day. We're still looking to get a first 6-pick win. And today, trying a different strategy of just focusing on a couple games. Talked about it on the, well, you couldn't hear it. But in the morning, I was talking about football. It's pretty good strategy if you have one or two games that are going to be high scoring. Take a lot of the overs in those games, like the Dallas-Philly game last week. And then bad weather games, just take a lot of under props. And you can kind of sprinkle between multiple games. So in the morning, there were just two games posted. And pick 6 props. I'm just going to kind of share them. Again, if you want to look at the website I was using was StatMuse, just to look at their game logs against this opponent. So that'll just give you a little bit of inclination. You can kind of go back to that video if you wanted to see that. Won't have it on here. But let's get started. So first prop that we were looking at was going to Chicago and taking DeMar DeRozan. We took his PRA, which is still a pretty good number. It's still only at 34.5, so I believe it's the same exact one that it was this morning. But we have a few other ones to look at, and personally, I still like his PRA, but if I can get to his fantasy at 38.5, I'll take that. He has crushed the Bucks in games that he's played against them. Really gets up for games against Giannis. He's had a couple of 30-point games against them. He's also just been on a tear as of late. So in what should be a fast-paced game, hopefully it's competitive. I like DeRozan to go over 38.5 fantasy. And then we're also looking at his teammate, Nikola Vucevic. His numbers, points, still like it at 15.5. He's also done very well against the Bucks, scoring over 20 multiple times and just having a couple of huge rebounding performances. So I like the points. You could take the rebounds, but personally I'm sticking with the PRA. Last game it was just a tough one. Wasn't able to get into rhythm, in the first quarter when he was struggling and didn't have any points. That it was probably going to be a long night for him, and it was. Then gets a good bounce-back spot against a center and Brook Lopez that stretches the floor, so they'll both be able to kind of shoot threes and doesn't really have to worry about having him take rebounds away because Lopez isn't the best rebounder. And we could see Vooch even match up a little bit on Giannis. They've done that in the past. So that'll help with the rebounds. Giannis likes to take a lot of shots right at the basket. So those are the two props from the Bulls that we were looking at. And then we're going on the other side and taking Brook Lopez's points again. The reason for that is Chris Middleton continues to miss games. Brook Lopez continues to just shoot the ball really well. I know it's greened out, and that might be a bit of a trap. But he's also done pretty well against the Bulls. There's a lot of factors in play. Middleton's not playing. He's just shooting really well right now, but I believe he's had over 20 points in 3 out of the last 7 games against them. So for that reason, I like Brook Lopez to at least get us 14. Holiday's been up and down with his shot, so Lopez has really stepped up nicely without Chris Middleton. So those were 3 props. One under prop we were looking at was going back to the points prop and taking Rudy Gobert and taking his under points. He hasn't faced off against the Pelicans this year in a member of the Timberwolves, but when he's faced off against them with the Jazz last year, he's really struggled scoring against them. Zion is back, so he'll be even bigger up front, and Valanciunas is definitely no slouch. He's not going to let Gobert get easy dunks on him. So I like Gobert to go under 14.5 points. He's also just a terrible free throw shooter, so if they do happen to send him to the line, good chance that he'll miss at least one of the 2. In last 4 meetings against the Pelicans, member of the Jazz though, but he didn't have more than 10 points in any of those 4. So even though Towns is out, hoping that McDaniel steps up, and I'm hoping that a guy they'll touch on next will step up and have a big scoring game. And speaking of that guy, we're looking at Anthony Edwards. He's at 24.5 points. I'm sticking with the points prop here. He's been very aggressive recently. He's shooting the ball really well. 3 straight games of north of 53% shooting from the floor. He's made a bunch of threes. I do think you could look to his 3 points made or look to his fantasy score if you wanted to. But Just feel like in a game against the Pelicans, which should be high scoring, Pelicans usually play up tempo, and the Timberwolves get a nice pace up spot. Also, he's done well in some tough matchups recently. Miami defense put up 29, Boston defense put up 30. It's a much easier defense here against the Pelicans, team that's still without Brandon Ingram. So matchup-wise, they'll probably have maybe Marshall on them or somebody like that. So, or maybe, I don't know if they'll put CJ on him. Probably put a bigger guy on Edwards. I don't think it'll matter with the way that he's been playing recently. I wouldn't be surprised if he has north of 30 points tonight. So those are the 5 props that I have. And then the final prop that we were looking at was taking the over PRA on Jaden McDaniels. He's at 17.5. Kyle Anderson continues to be questionable. He's missed the last 5 games. And he stepped up nicely. He's already just been stepping up nicely in the absence of Karl-Anthony Towns having some good games. You could look to his rebounds and assists instead, but he's had some good shooting performances. He doesn't take a ton of shots, but he's pretty efficient. And he'll be able to crash the glass a little bit more now that he's playing at the 4. And with Anderson missing games, they've been starting smaller with Rivers, so it's led to more rebounding opportunities for McDaniels. Hopefully, Kyle Anderson sits out for at least one more game. Even if he does happen to play, don't think it's the worst prop at over 17.5 PRA for him. But that's what I got for the PrizePicks video today. Thank you for watching. Apologies for having no sound earlier. Put in all these more or lesses. So more on DeMar DeRozan's fantasy, more on Vooch's PRA, more on Brook Lopez's points, less on Rudy Gobert's points, more on Edwards' points, and more on Jaden McDaniels' PRA. So that's what I got. Let me know if you have any questions, comments down in the comments section. Best of luck. Hopefully today's the day we can hit one, and I'll catch you all next time.